What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Overdrive Third Gear. It's me, Maximum Black. What's going on in the chat here? Let's see. Wow, my strong peoples are in the chat already. Shout out to colleague Jane79. Hoorah. My boy Kenny Khan Joe. What's going on? Yeah, we're going to talk about automation tonight. Chaos has been, getting after me about this one, so I'm finally going to do it. Didn't really want to talk about it, but I will. And we're also going to get into some other things tonight, okay? I mean, this is the Overdrive, so sometimes it's a little unpredictable on here. We may start out with one thing and end up with another, i.e. IFF fuckery, but we'll keep that to ourselves. I'll be ready to start here in a few minutes. I'm going to start out with a audio from a guy named Daniel Susskind, who has some very, very powerful things to say about AI and the future of automation. There's a lot of spooky boo nonsense going around about automation. Okay? That we're going to be displaced and nobody will have any work and we're all going to kill each other and die. We're going to turn into drug addicts and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully we can straighten some of that out tonight. Just give me a few minutes and I'll be ready to go. I'll wait for a few more people to show up and then we'll get the show started. Till then, enjoy my main man, Kenny Lattimore. I've got so much on, and I know my taste is time for you. Too busy for you. Too busy, never too busy. I'm never too busy for you, babe. Never too busy. Never too busy for you, girl. Never too busy. I'm never too busy. for you, baby. I'm never too busy for you, girl. Things on your I'm not too busy for you. I'm not too busy if you feel it all. I'm not too busy for you. I'm not too busy.
All right, everybody, let's get the show started. I guess people will come in as we go. All right, I'm going to start things out with this audio clip from a professor at Oxford, who happens to be the leading expert on AI. His father was one of the first people who actually created a working unit, AI unit, Robert Susskind. So here he will be talking about the myths of automation and the unnecessary fear of automation. So this clip is about 15 minutes. So when it's done, I'll be back and we'll talk about it. So here he is, Mr. Daniel Susskind, on the topic of automation and artificial intelligence.
Automation anxiety has been spreading lately. Fear that in the future, many jobs will be performed by machines rather than human beings, given the remarkable advances that are unfolding in artificial intelligence and robotics. What's clear is that there will be significant change. What's less clear is what that change will look like. My research suggests that the future is both troubling and exciting. The threat of technological unemployment is real, and yet it's a good problem to have. And to explain how I came to that conclusion, I want to confront three myths that I think are currently obscuring our vision of this automated future. A picture that we see on our television screens and books and films and everyday commentary is one where an army of robots descends on the workplace with one goal in mind: to displace human beings from their work. And I call this the Terminator myth. Yes, machines displace human beings from particular tasks, but they don't just substitute for human beings. They also complement in other tasks, making that work more valuable and more important. Sometimes they complement human beings directly, making them more productive or more efficient at a particular task. So a taxi driver can use a sat-nav system to navigate on unfamiliar roads. An architect can use computer-assisted design software to design bigger, more complicated buildings. But technological progress doesn't just complement human beings directly, it also complements them indirectly. And it does this in two ways. The first is, if we think of the economy as a pie, technological progress makes the pie bigger. As productivity increases, incomes rise, and demand grows. The British pie, for instance, is more than 100 times the size it was 300 years ago. And so people displaced from tasks in the old pie could find tasks to do in the new pie instead. But technological progress doesn't just make the pie bigger, it also changes the ingredients in the pie. As time passes, people spend their income in different ways, changing how they spread it across existing goods and developing tastes for entirely new goods too. New industries are created, new tasks have to be done, and that means often new roles have to be filled. Again, the British pie, 300 years ago, most people worked on farms. 150 years ago, in factories. And today, most people work in offices. And once again, people displaced from tasks in the old bit of pie could tumble into tasks in the new bit of pie instead. Economists call these effects complementarities, but really that's just a fancy word to capture the different way that technological progress helps human beings. Resolving this Terminator myth shows us that there are two forces at play. One, machine substitution that harms workers, but also these complementarities that do the opposite. Now the second myth, what I call the intelligence myth. What do the tasks of driving a car, making a medical diagnosis, and identifying a bird at a fleeting glimpse have in common? Well, these are all tasks that until very recently, leading economists thought couldn't readily be automated. And yet today, all of these tasks can be automated. You know, all major car manufacturers have driverless car programs. There's countless systems out there that can diagnose medical problems, and there's even an app that can identify a bird at a fleeting glimpse. Now, this wasn't simply a case of bad luck on the part of economists. They were wrong, and the reason why they were wrong is very important. They'd fallen for the intelligence myth, the belief that machines have to copy the way that human beings think and reason in order to outperform them. When these economists were trying to figure out what tasks machines could not do, they imagined the only way to automate a task was to sit down with a human being, get them to explain to you how it was they performed the task, and then try and capture that explanation in a set of instructions for a machine to follow. This view was popular in artificial intelligence at 1.2. I know this because Richard Susskind, who is my dad and my co-author, wrote his doctorate in the 1980s on artificial intelligence and the law at Oxford University. And he was part of the vanguard. And with a professor called Philip Kappa and a legal publisher called Butterworth, they produced the world's first artificial intelligence system, world's first commercially available artificial intelligence system in the law. This was the home screen design. He assures me this was a cool screen design at the time. I've never been entirely convinced. He published it in the form of 2 floppy disks, time when floppy disks genuinely were floppy. And his approach was the same as The Economist. Sit down with a lawyer, get her to explain to you how it was she solved a legal problem, and then try and capture that explanation in a set of rules for a machine to follow. In economics, if human beings could explain themselves in this way, the tasks are called routine, and they can be automated. But if human beings can't explain themselves, the tasks are called non-routine, and they're thought to be out of reach. Today, that routine, non-routine distinction is widespread. Think how often you hear people say to you, machines can only perform tasks that are predictable or repetitive, rules-based or well-defined. Those are all just different words for routine. And go back to those 3 cases that I mentioned at the start. Those are all classic cases of non-routine tasks. Ask a doctor, for instance, how she makes a medical.
Now, I'm gonna stop it right there for a minute, okay? I want you to pay very close attention to him saying routine. That's very important. See, because that's what's programmed into artificial intelligence. Routine functions. You see, because artificial intelligence functions at a process that's far greater than humans, right? It gives the appearance that this artificial intelligence can actually think like a human. It cannot do that. Now you have these so-called master teachers online here telling you, oh man, these computers are going to be running our lives. This artificial intelligence is going to take over the world. No, this is not a movie. Okay? It doesn't work that way. Artificial intelligence does what humans tell it to do. It doesn't think on its own. I don't care how fast its microprocessor is. I don't care how many calculations it does in a second or a millisecond or whatever. It doesn't think on its own. It doesn't have a mind of its own. It doesn't have an imagination. It's not going to create robots out of polyalloy metal that it's not instructed to do. You see, artificial intelligence, just like any other computer program, works off a set of functions and instruction. At its core, artificial intelligence, right, is a set of functions and instructions inputted by human beings. Okay, so AI doesn't think for itself. Now you got some spooky blues running around here talking about, oh, the computers can actually think. They act like us, they talk like, no, they don't think. Now, as far as automation, okay, there will be some jobs that will be wiped out by automation. Those jobs are labor jobs. I do see labor jobs actually disappearing over a period of time. I don't know what time frame we're talking about, but I do see labor jobs being targeted by automation. Okay. And if you are a laborer, if you live your life as a laborer, you might want to think about getting some kind of light education, in technology, or become an entrepreneur, do something else, because the labor jobs, they're eventually going to do away with altogether. And there's a lot of reasons why. It's not that they hate people and they don't want people to do such and such and such. The problem is a lot of it has to do with money. When you have people in these labor jobs, the risk of injury goes up. A lot of insurance companies don't want to pay these claims. So you have less people, then you have less risk of people getting hurt. That's why they're targeting these. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why they're targeting these labor jobs. So if you're a laborer, you might be in serious trouble. If that's all you can do, and you can't do anything else, over a period of time, you're going to be in trouble, because they will eventually get rid of all labor jobs are going to be obsolete. So let me get back into what he's talking about here.
Medical diagnosis, and she might be able to give you a few rules of thumb, but ultimately she'd struggle. She'd say it requires things like creativity, judgment, and intuition. And these things are very difficult to articulate, and so it was thought these tasks would be very hard to automate. If a human being can't explain themselves, where on earth do we begin in writing a set of instructions for a machine?
Okay, let me stop him right here. He said that it requires things like creativity. That will never happen with a machine. Machines can't imagine things. They can't imagine things. They don't have an imagination. They can't just draw up stuff out of nowhere. They can't just think about things. Like if a machine can't even think about changing one, like, for example, the sky, a blue sky turning to a white sky or something like that. You can't imagine that. Okay? Creativity is a serious flaw in artificial intelligence. Again, showing you that machines can calculate things at a greater speed than humans. They're trying to pass this off as thinking, and it's not thinking. The machine is just following a set of instructions at blinding speed. Speeds far greater than you're capable of as a human being. And they're trying to pass this off as the machine is actually thinking, and it is.
Follow. 30 years ago, this view was right, but today it's looking shaky, and in the future it's simply going to be wrong. Advances in processing power, in data storage capability, and in algorithm design mean that this routine, non-routine distinction is diminishingly useful. To see this, go back to the case of making a medical diagnosis. Earlier in the year, a team of researchers at Stanford announced they developed a system which can tell you whether or not a freckle is cancerous as accurately as leading dermatologists. How does it work? It's not trying to copy the judgment or the intuition of a doctor. It knows or understands nothing about medicine at all. Instead, it's running a pattern recognition algorithm through 129,450 past cases, hunting for similarities between those cases and the particular lesion in question. It's performing these tasks in an unhuman way, based on the analysis of more possible cases than any doctor could hope to review in their lifetime. It didn't matter that that human being, that doctor, couldn't explain how she performed the task. Now, there are those who dwell upon the fact that these machines aren't built in our image. As an example, take IBM's Watson, the supercomputer that went on the US quiz show Jeopardy in 2011, and it beat the two human champions at Jeopardy. The day after it won, the Wall Street Journal ran a piece by the philosopher John Searle with the title, "Watson Doesn't Know It Won on Jeopardy." Right, and it's brilliant, and it's true. Watson didn't let out a cry of excitement. It didn't call up its parents to say.
Now, how do you think that machine beat those two humans? You think that it just thought up those answers? See, this is the problem I have, right? Where you have people on YouTube pushing this narrative that the machines somehow outwitted the human beings. Again, the speed in which they calculate things is far greater than the human being. Okay, and so when they put this information into this machine, they put in all the plausible answers, such as the percentage of what answer would be right, and so forth. This machine didn't think these answers up. It didn't sit up there and say, oh, let me see. If I choose this one, then that might not be right. But no, they don't do that. It's working off a set of instructions at an incredible rate. Okay, so it can calculate far faster than a human being can think. Okay, and so it gives the appearance that it outthought these two human beings. See, this is smoke and mirrors, people. This is not what you think it is. AI is not what you think it is. It's not the Terminator. It's not the the Jetsons. It's not Star Trek. You're not going to go to a replicator and all of a sudden you're going to open up the replicator and food's going to be there, appeared out of nowhere. It's not happening. Let's continue.
Say what a good job it had done. It didn't go down to the pub for a drink. This system wasn't trying to copy the way that those human contestants played, but it didn't matter. It still outperformed them. Resolving the intelligence myth.
Now, notice what he just said. He said this machine wasn't trying to copy what these human beings did, but what mattered was it outperformed them. Outperform. Not outthink, not outthought, but outperform. Speed. Speed. You can outperform people with speed. Because you're faster than another person doesn't mean you think faster. So it can calculate information far greater than the two human contestants. So it beat them with speed. It didn't outthink them. It didn't outthink them. It beat them with speed. Let's continue.
Shows us our limited understanding about human intelligence, about how we think and reason, is far less of a constraint on automation than it was in the past. What's more, as we've seen, when these machines perform tasks differently to human beings, there's no reason to think that what human beings are currently capable of doing represents any sort of summit in what these machines might be capable of doing in the future. Now the third myth, what I call the superiority myth. It's often said that those who forget about the helpful side of technological progress, those complementarities from before, are committing something known as the lump of labor fallacy. Now, the problem is the lump of labor fallacy is itself a fallacy. And I call this the lump of labor fallacy, or LOLF for short. Let me explain. The lump of labor fallacy is a very old idea. It was a British economist, David Schloss, who gave it this name in 1892. He was puzzled to come across a dock worker who'd begun to use a machine to make washers, the small metal discs that fasten on the end of screws. And this dock worker felt guilty for being more productive. Now, most of the time we expect the opposite, that people feel guilty for being unproductive. They had a little too much time on Facebook or Twitter at work. But this worker felt guilty for being more productive. And asked why, he said, I know I'm doing wrong. I'm taking away the work of another man. In his mind, there was some fixed lump of work to be divided up between him and his pals, so that if he used this machine to do more, there'd be less left for his pals to do. Schloss saw the mistake. The lump of work wasn't fixed. As this worker used the machine and became more productive, the price of washers would fall, demand for washers would rise, more washers would have to be made, and there'd be more work for his pals to do. The lump of work would get bigger. Schloss called this the lump of labor fallacy. And today you hear people talk about the lump of labor fallacy to think about the future of all types of work. There's no fixed lump of work out there to be divided up between people and machines. Yes, Machines substitute for human beings, making the original lump of work smaller, but they also complement human beings, and the lump of work gets bigger and changes. But love. Here's the mistake. It's right to think that technological progress makes the lump of work to be done bigger. Some tasks become more valuable and new tasks have to be done. But it's wrong to think that necessarily human beings will be best placed to perform those tasks. And this is the superiority myth. Yes, the lump of work might get bigger and change. As machines become more capable, it's likely that they'll take on the extra lump of work themselves. Technological progress, rather than complement human beings, complements.
Okay, notice what he just said, the lump of labor. I just said that. Those are the jobs that people have to worry about. If you are a career laborer, you may want to start thinking about doing something else. Labor jobs are targeted. Okay, those are the jobs that are in jeopardy. If you are just out here unloading trucks, or you are just sweeping the floor, or you're a janitor, you're a window washer, you pick up garbage for a living, or something like that. If you're some kind of laborer, you might want to start thinking about doing something different, because they're going to eventually get rid of all of these labor jobs. Okay, it has a lot to do with money. It has a lot to do with, as my esteemed brother Sumi would say, it's always about economics. It is. It has a lot to do with economics. Okay, insurance claims are going down because labor jobs, people get hurt doing labor jobs. You get a bad back, the next thing you got you put a claim in, and then they're paying you for your bad back for the rest of your life. Companies want to get away from that. They want to get away from people slipping and falling on the job, and wrenching their back or getting hurt on the job. The risk of getting hurt on the job to where you do manual labor it's pretty high, especially if you operate machines or you work on assembly lines where there's a conveyor belt. Okay, there's a risk of getting hurt. Okay, and so that's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons why they want to replace these type of jobs with machines. If you look at GE, General Electric, some of their warehouses are fully automated. I've been to a few to where robots unload trucks and they load trucks, and you don't see any human beings on the floor. Now, you do have a programmer on hand. Okay, he's there to make sure all of the machines run correctly. He's there to make sure that the programs run smoothly. What you do see in the GE warehouse is an IT department. Okay, that's fully staffed, and you see computer engineers. They're ready to fix the machines if they break down. Other than that, you don't see any humans on the floor. If I sat there and watched them load a couple of trucks, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, it was these mini robots with forks on the end of them, like forklifts. Okay, and they just ran about picking up one pallet after another. They were very precise. Okay, they loaded the truck the same way all the time. They didn't crash into each other when they went to picked up other pallets. It was pretty cool to watch. But that whole warehouse had no human beings in it other than in the IT department. And the humans there, they were just there to make sure that the robots ran or fixed them when they broke down. And the programmer was there to make sure that the robots had a set of instructions. Again, a set of instructions. The robots can't work without a set of instructions. None of the robots were thinking, though. What they were doing was following their programming. So labor is definitely in jeopardy. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat that. Labor jobs are in serious jeopardy of disappearing and falling to automation. Okay, so there are other jobs that are going to be available. So let's continue.
Machines instead. To see this, go back to the task of driving a car. Today, sat-nav systems directly complement human beings. They make some human beings better drivers. But in the future, software is going to displace human beings from the driving seat. And these sat-nav systems, rather than complement human beings, will simply make these driverless cars more efficient, helping the machines instead. We'll go to those indirect complementarities that I mentioned as well. The economic pie may get larger, but as machines become more capable, it's possible that any new demand will fall on goods that machines, rather than human beings, are the best place to produce. The economic pie may change, but as machines become more capable, it's possible that they'll be best placed to do the new tasks that have to be done. In short, demand for tasks isn't demand for human labor. Human beings only stand to benefit if they retain the upper hand in all these complemented tasks. But as machines become more capable, that becomes less likely. So what do these three myths tell us then? Well, resolving the Terminator myth shows us that the future of work depends upon this balance between two forces. One, machine substitution that harms workers, but also those complementarities that do the opposite. And until now, this balance has fallen in favor of human beings. But resolving the intelligence myth shows us that first force, machine substitution, is gathering strength. Machines, of course, can't do everything, but they can do far more, encroaching ever deeper into the realm of tasks performed by human beings. What's more, there's no reason to think that what human beings are currently capable of represents any sort of finishing line. The machines are going to draw to a polite stop once they're as capable as us. And none of this matters so long as those helpful winds of complementarity blow firmly enough. But resolving the superiority myth shows us that that process of task encroachment not only strengthens the force of machine substitution, but it wears down those helpful complementarities too. Bring these three myths together, and I think we can catch a glimpse of that troubling future. Machines continue to become more capable, encroaching ever deeper on tasks performed by human beings, strengthening the force of machine substitution, weakening the force of machine complementarity. And at some point, that balance falls in favor of machines rather than human beings. This is the path we're currently on. I say path deliberately because I don't think we're there yet. But it is hard to avoid the conclusion that this is our direction of travel. That's the troubling part. Let me say now why I think actually this is a good problem to have. For most of human history, one economic problem has dominated. How to make the economic pie large enough for everyone to live on. Go back to the turn of the 1st century AD, and if you took the global economic pie and divided it up into equal slices for everyone in the world, everyone would get a few $100s. Almost everyone lived on or around the poverty line. And if you roll forward 1,000 years, roughly the same is true. But in the last few hundred years, economic growth has taken off. Those economic pies have exploded in size. Global GDP per head, the value of those individual slices of the pie today, are about $10,150. If economic growth continues at 2%, our children will be twice as rich as us. If it continues at a more measly 1%, our grandchildren will be twice as rich as us. By and large, we've solved that traditional economic problem. Now, technological unemployment, if it does happen, in a strange way will be a symptom of that success. We'll have solved one problem, how to make the pie bigger, but replaced it with another, how to make sure that everyone gets a slice. As other economists have noted, solving this problem won't be easy. Today, for most people, their job is their seat at the economic dinner table. And in a world with less work or even without work, it won't be clear how they get their slice. There's a great deal of discussion, for instance, about various forms of universal basic income as one possible approach. And there's trials underway in the United States, and in Finland, and Kenya. And this is the collective challenge that's right in front of us, to figure out how this material prosperity generated by our economic system can be enjoyed by everyone in a world in which our traditional mechanism for slicing up the pie, the work that people do, withers away and perhaps disappears. Solving this problem is going to require us to think in very different ways. There's going to be a lot of disagreement about what ought to be done, but it's important to remember that this is a far better problem to have than the one that haunted our ancestors for centuries. How to make that pie big enough in the first place. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the so-called doom and gloom isn't a overall picture, but labor, labor will fall by the wayside. They don't want laborers anymore. They don't want people laboring anymore. So any kind of support job where you do something that is repetitive, like you package goods or you lift boxes for a living. Hey, Christina Williams, how you doing? You lift boxes for a living, or you load trucks, or you put something on a cart, or any kind of repetitive labor job is in jeopardy. You know, you might want to start thinking about learning some light tech work, or becoming an entrepreneur, or becoming someone who can create these machines. Eventually, they want society to move more towards a technological society. I don't have a problem with that, but the people who are laborers may take issue with that. You know, now this won't happen overnight. Now, it's going to be a decade or so before you start feeling the impact of the loss of labor. Now, most people who have skilled jobs, whatever, won't be affected by this. Because if you look at what the robots are replacing, they're replacing labor jobs. They don't want human beings in coal mines anymore. They got robots that can go dig out coal now. They don't want human beings physically unloading trucks and risk hurting their backs. They got robots that can do that now. I just talked about, right, Bell, yes. They got robots that can do that now. I just talked about GE, General Electric, where their entire warehouse is fully automated with robots that load and unload trucks. Okay, but what's going on? But let's not get into this myth that these robots think, or artificial intelligence thinks, or it's actually better than the human mind. It is not. AI does not think. I don't care how fancy it looks. I don't care how fast it is. It doesn't think. It does what it is programmed to do. Now, you got people on the internet who are being reckless, okay, because they've been put up on YouTube as some kind of false intellectual god, and people believe that what they say is true, and they're being reckless with their doom and gloom and their Dr. Doom logic. Okay, and this is not the Terminator. This is not a Mad Max movie. Computers do not think. They don't have an imagination. They can't create anything. They can only do what they are programmed to do. That includes artificial intelligence. Okay? No, they don't, Albert Bird. No, they don't. And I'm tired of this narrative, this spooky boo narrative that we're going to wake up one day and computers are going to be running the world and they're going to be telling us what to do. It's not going to happen. This is not the Jetsons. People have been watching too many movies. Artificial intelligence doesn't work that way. I know tech is my thing. It doesn't work that way. I don't care how many quantum physics algorithms you put in there, it won't think. Now here's another TED Talks. Okay, listen to this here.
Why does round pizza come in a square box? Constant Contact makes it so easy to send emails. You'll have time to let your mind.
What I learned later is when you.
Okay, here we go with the future of AI in the workforce.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to wake you up because it's Sunday morning, and I'm going to speak about AI and robots and all that sort of stuff. And I would suggest that you will be awake by the end of that talk at the very, very least. Now, knowledge is power. That's what Francis Bacon famously said more than 400 years ago. And I was thinking, how is this actually today? So let me start with a question. Who here knows what an exabyte is? Other than the fact it's a very large number, 10 to the power of 18. You see, I couldn't picture this. So the image you see behind the number, that's the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., which is the largest library in the world, unless you listen to the people from the British Library, who think they have about 5 volumes more. But that doesn't matter so much. So the entire printed content of the Library of Congress can be stored on an exabyte.
Hey, Wanda, how you doing?
100,000 times.
Glad you can make it.
So last year, there you go. Last year, we exchanged information over the internet to the tune of 1,100 exabytes. That's 110 million times the content of the Library of Congress in 1 year. And each and every one of you in here has access to that via your smartphones that is doubtlessly in your pocket and hopefully on the side. So in front of that background, the question is knowledge actually still power today? Now we live in the age of the computer. One you see here was one of the most powerful mainframes of its day. It's an IBM machine. It was so powerful actually that this was the machine used in ground control, used for the Apollo 11 mission to the man on the moon. They ran the most sophisticated programs, the most complex stuff in its day. And the program size was 6 megabytes, which is actually less than 10% of Candy Crush Saga on your phone. Now, all this goes back to this man, Gordon Moore, one of the founders of Intel, who is the author of Moore's Law, which of course isn't really a law, but he basically said that roughly every 18 to 24 months, the number of transistors on a chip will double. And therefore, it's not a straight line, but it will basically mean that the computing power will double. But when you look at the graph, you would see this is an exponential one. And you know, it's sad to say, but Moore's Law is dying, or Intel's getting slower. But we're still waiting for the new chip generation. We are almost 3 years in. Fear not, though, because there is new stuff on the horizon, and that's quantum computing. And I have absolutely no idea what that's supposed to do, other than Justin Thoreau, who can actually explain it. However, we have a son who thankfully is a physicist, and he just...
Now, I want you to pay attention to what he just said about quantum computing, right? He said he has absolutely no idea what that is supposed to do, right? He says that because that's a shot at these so-called experts who say, well, quantum computing is going to change the world. It's going to make computers think. No, it is not. And you have people on YouTube running with this narrative, especially Black folks, audios who call themselves master teachers and stuff, running with this phantom quantum computing theory, that somehow quantum computing is going to turn robots into part-time human beings, to where they'll be having their own birthday parties and, you know, getting drunk and, you know, doing the electric slide. Can you imagine a robot doing the electric slide? So I just want you to keep in mind what he just said about quantum computing. Now, quantum computing is supposed to be this big thing with all these algorithms and stuff, right? But hear what he just said. Sounds very unimpressed. When he said quantum computing, I don't know what that is supposed to do. I agree with him. I don't know what quantum computing is supposed to do either. Because it's certainly not going to transform robots into thinking humans. That's not what it's going to do. But if you listen to some of these so-called know-it-alls on YouTube, they have a different view about quantum computing. Let's continue to listen.
filed his thesis on practical quantum computing. Fingers crossed, wherever you are. So he said, look, it's actually very simple. What is on here is accurate. In other words, if really fast modern computer can read, in inverted commas, every book in the library, a quantum computer can read every book in the library at once.
Okay, let me stop you.
So we're looking.
Let me stop you. This is what I mentioned before. When Daniel Susskind was talking, right? When he talked about how that computer beat those two guys, those two contestants, right? Beat them with speed. Speed. The computer wasn't thinking. It beat them with speed. Now, what did he just say here about quantum computing? What is the main purpose right there? Speed. You see, speed is what they're trying to get you to believe is actual thinking. And so they tell you that these computers can think because they can calculate much faster than you. They can figure out things much faster than you. They calculate things at an alarming rate, at blinding speed. So because they can do that, they're out-thinking you, when in fact they're not thinking at all. They're just following a set of instructions at blinding speed. That's all they're doing, giving the appearance that they are actually thinking when they are not. Let us continue.
Yeah, at several orders of magnitude in computing power that we will be adding, God knows when, in 10 years' time, 50 years' time, soon. And all that rise in computing power allows us to look at a lot more complex problems of computing, and that is what's now known as artificial intelligence or AI. When I grew up, this thing existed only in science fiction movies, but it's very much with us today, and I'm going to show you a little bit about this. Now, if you've been reading the papers, in particular over the last year or so, you will also have come across the term machine learning. And if you are in that space, you know exactly what it means. If not, it actually means what it says on the tin, namely, the machines are coming. Now, it starts being really harmless. When you look, you know, this is a factory worker, and you think, come on, you know, we've had industrial robots in car factories for decades. And that is true, there's nothing new. Last summer, however, I stumbled across this headline. Company called Foxconn, which is the largest manufacturer of consumer electronics in the world. They build about a third of the entire consumer electronics in the world, including the iPhone. So they announced that they would replace 60,000 workers with robots. And whilst that is in itself a really scary big number, what really I thought was shocking was that this means that someone who makes $5 a day is now too expensive and therefore will be replaced by technology. The same thing you find, for instance, in warehouse logistics. Those little orange things there are robots that drive shelves towards the poor guy who still has to pack them in an Amazon warehouse. Amazon acquired that company. They want to put 50,000 of those into their various warehouses. It also works for very large packages. Port of LA, those things drive themselves. And if you want to take it a notch darker, this guy might be your next policeman. He's faster than Usain Bolt, and he lasts longer than only 100 meters. You don't outrun him. Meanwhile, in the parking lot of Uber, this friendly Dalek here is doing the parameter control and makes sure that there's no bad hombres coming in, putting the world to shame. Now, yet a notch darker. If you need a sniper, if you're the government, you probably need to go to the dark web, but you can buy this thing today. I mean, this is commercial grade drones. There's also, you think, well, you know, there's other thing, but this builder can build you a house from brick and mortar in 2 days. Never throws a sickie, never needs a vacation, never gets ill, and never has a bad back from all those bricks.
Again, okay, now, let me stop here. Notice what he just said, right? Build you a house in brick and mortar in 2 days, right? Never have to worry about, never get tired, never get a bad back. See, that's key. This goes to what I was saying about labor and how they are targeting labor jobs, okay? If you are a career laborer, you may want to start thinking now to do something else. Either get some kind of a small technical education that will allow you to either maintain these robots, because labor jobs are going to get wiped out eventually. They don't want people getting hurt anymore. They don't want these liabilities anymore, insurance-wise. It is about economics. It's not about them hating people or don't want people to work. They just don't want to pay the money in case, you know how much money that they have to pay out if someone hurts their back? If you hurt your back on the job, right? Your back may never get well. They may have to pay you for the rest of your life. This companies don't want to deal with that anymore. And when you work a labor job, the risk of you getting hurt is extremely high, especially if you work around machinery like conveyor belts. You're on some kind of assembly line. You got forklifts going back and forth, high lows. There's a risk of you getting hurt. They don't want that anymore. There's a risk of you getting cancer, especially in coal mines. You know, they get the stuff in their lungs, okay? You are subject to a lot of bacterial infections and stuff when you work labor, because you're around a lot of raw material and different things that interact with the environment, especially on construction sites. So these are the type of things that they are looking to get rid of. So if you are in labor, if you are a career laborer, yeah, you might be in some serious trouble, okay? Because they will eventually get rid of those jobs. Let's continue.
But there's also like really fun stuff. Hello, tech. There we go. So this is the pizza delivery guy.
Oh, and I'm sorry I can't actually show you guys the video because YouTube is freaking out now. They're chopping everybody down. If you even look, if they see a video, they're cutting your stream. So I can only play the audio. All right. So just try to visualize if he talks about some kind of prop he has up. Just try to visualize it. But right now, I can't take a chance on showing the video. I did that once and my main channel got struck down for showing a video. So.
And you think, hey, dude, this is awesome, right? So I'm just dialing up Domino's and order it. Now, if you live in Auckland, New Zealand, if someone is listening, you can do this today. Because Domino's and Flirty, which is a drone maker, they actually started trialing pizza delivery via drone November of last year. So, you know, if you think I'm talking to you about a far-flung future, no, these things were happening today. And then you think, well,
you see, this is another problem I have, okay? The word drone. Negroes are running amok on YouTube with the word drone, okay? They have taken this word drone and have completely created a whole new robotic society with it. You let them tell it, right? We are going to be obsolete as people. Why? You know, it's gotten to the point now where I'm asking, well, why do they even need us around at all? If we're going to be replaced with all these machines, there's drones flying everywhere. Drones going to be able to do this. Drones will be able to do that. And we will just what? Just walk around all day and do nothing? I mean, do you honestly believe that there's going to come a time where everybody is going to be out of work? Or we're going to get into this Dr. Doom, end of the world theory, where people who are displaced out of work by the millions are going to suddenly turn into savages and turn towards drugs, opioid drugs, and smoking trees and bath salt and everything else? I don't think that's going to happen. You see, automation, this isn't the first time automation has been a part of our, automation has been a part of our lives. I can take it all the way back to the 50s. Automation has been around, people, for a long time. It's probably been around longer than that. What do you think are in these GM plants, in these Ford plants?
Automation.
Robots. They've had robots for years, for decades. People are still working.
People still
Yeah,
be
people still-
productive.
Now, again, I will say this. Labor is what they're trying to get rid of. They've been trying to get rid of labor jobs for years now. Okay, they're already doing it in the transportation industry as far as warehousing. I've seen this with my own eyes. Like I said, just look up General Electric, look at their warehouses. They're fully automated. They got robots everywhere. Okay, so labor, you might want to rethink your career if you are a career laborer. You used to be able to be a career laborer and retire and get a pension. Those days they're getting rid of that. Okay. All right, so let's not get crazy with this word drone.
Can I say
All
something?
right, because they made a drone to deliver pizza, then all of a sudden, you know, the rest of us are going to become obsolete. Let's continue. Yeah, go ahead, Chaos.
You know, it's interesting when they talk about 80% of all the things that could possibly automate, that, you know, and with the introduction of 5G, and I'm not sure if you were talking about 5G before you had your channel, Max, but we probably should really look at that, because for 5G, it's going to make even the automation that people were so scared of more accelerated. You know what I'm saying? Because the internet right now we have is very slow. It's probably almost as slow second to the continent Africa in regards to internet speed. Outside Africa and here, the internet is much faster in Asia, and I think it's faster in Europe, some parts of Europe. So even the speed we have in internet is outdated. You get me? So when people talk about the automation, and I did a stream on this with another good brother, you know, I'm talking about the Elder, earlier this year about it, and people always hit me up in the chat room about it. They're very concerned about, so they might lose work. I mean, I could be concerned about losing, let's say, work right now, possibly too, you know. But like with anything that's gone, there's something replaced and could be so-called better. It just make us try to strive to do something different, you know. I mean, if you think about most of us that are not, let's say we're productive, right? And you work and stuff, good. That means you're in a journey now where you could probably do something better, possibly, you know. Unlike some are people that's not working at all, or they can't find work. You know what I'm saying? They're not being productive at all. But those that are productive, I mean, this is a great opportunity for you to really expound the possibilities, you know.
Right.
I'm gonna let you continue to play on, because it's lengthy right now what you're playing. So I'm gonna sit back and be quiet.
Yeah, it's almost done. I'm commentating through it. Okay, I'm almost done with it. This is the last one. Then we can get to that discussion you talked about. Let me just finish this up. All right, so let us continue.
But you know, in dense urban environments, you cannot fly a drone. And fear not, clicker. There we go. You can also get it on wheels, and it will just roll along nicely on the pavement and deliver your pizza to the front door. They went live 2 weeks ago in Washington, D.C. and Redwood City in California. And if you think pizza is all too boring, you know, there is, of course, also a robot that can cook up to 2,000 meals. And you can buy these things. Now, Uber takes it a notch higher, not only parameter control with friendly dialects, but they actually started trialing self-driving cars to pick up real passengers. And not only in some odd little place where no one lives, but in Pittsburgh, which is fairly densely populated. And if you don't want to ship around people but things, this truck has been trialing on the roads of Nevada for the last 4 years. Now, the backdrop to this is worldwide, about 400 million people earn their living by shipping people or things from A to B. And they're all in the process of being potentially displaced. This is something, right? We should do a bit of culture. Meet Emily Howell. You can look her up on Spotify. It's very, very gentle, nice piano music. The thing, however, is Emily Howell is an algorithm. Signed to a label for the time being. And honestly, listen to it because it's amazing. And then last autumn, I stumbled across this headline. The good folks from Google DeepMind. DeepMind is a company based out of London that was acquired by Google. And they published this really complex scientific article about WaveNet, which generates audio. And that means that the next Emily Howell will actually also be able to sing. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if that's a human being or not. And you might have one of those since last Christmas in your kitchen. Hey Alexa, play me a very nice song. Now, the background to voice recognition and voice output is, that's a really complex computing problem, and it is there.
Well, the issue with self-driving cars, Dame Frankie, they've had self-driving cars around for about a decade now, maybe even more than that. They've been paying people like Tesla and small inventors to keep these cars off the market, but these cars have been around for a while. Matter of fact, there's a whole city in China, all of their cars are automated, every last one of them. Okay, the cars drive themselves. Okay, so this has been around. This technology has been around for at least a decade that I know of. It may be longer than that. So it would be perfectly safe to get into a self-driving car. The technology has been mastered already. Okay, the issue is that the automotive industry has been holding these cars back because they want to continue to make money off the conventional cars, right? And when you unleash something like this on them, you can't just like come out one day and say, hey, look, here's all these self-driving cars. People are going to have a problem with that. See, a lot of this stuff you just can't, just throw on people all at once. Hey, Cluster, how you doing? Yeah, you just can't throw on people all at once because people aren't going to give up their old habits that easy. Like I was talking to a friend of mine in Discord, Drake, we talked about the checker in the supermarket, right? Where they have the self-checkout line, and then you have one actual real checker working at a Walmart. You have 30 people in the line, right? And those 30 people are willing to stand in that line because they want to deal with a real person. And you got the self-checkout lines are nearly empty. I'm one of those people who are willing to stand in line because I want to deal with a real person. I don't give a damn about the self-checkout line being over there. That has nothing to do with me. I grew up in the era where I dealt with people, and that's what I'm comfortable with, and that's what I want to do. So I don't have a problem standing in line, just so I can deal with a real person. Now, you got automated cars. You're gonna have some people who are gonna like the automated cars. They're gonna think it's fun, right? But you're gonna have people who still want to drive. Okay, some people just gonna want to drive. A lot of this technology is really aimed at the younger generation because what they're doing now is they're grooming the young generation to be socially inept. Okay, and to follow anything that they put out. The young people are going to love getting into these cars that drive themselves. They're going to think it's cool. It's going to be like going to an amusement park to them. They don't care nothing about the dangers on the road or getting hit or ending up in a car accident. They don't give a damn about that. And they're going to be socially inept. Okay, they're going to use machines for everything. Just like someone was telling me about going into McDonald's, right? And they're almost fully automated. The person standing over there at the checkout had a problem when he didn't have a card to use. You get a person $20, they figure out like, okay, why you give me $20? Well, I'm paying for my meal. Well, do you have a card? No, I don't have a card. Well, what am I supposed to do? What do you mean, what are you supposed to do? Aren't you here to check people out? Yeah, but you need a card. Why do I need a card? Why come I can't pay? How come I can't pay cash? It will come to that to where you won't be able to pay cash. Everything's going to be by some kind of electronic debit. Yeah, Frankie, I've never seen it. I've never seen it that way. I've only seen the opposite. I've only seen the longer lines at the person who actually standing there checking people out. I hardly ever see, well, the Walmart that I go to here in Virginia, I hardly ever see anybody at the self-checkout line. You know, they use it, but it's never really crowded. It's never really crowded. People are just
So you
standing
said,
in line
Max,
on a different person. Huh?
so self-checkout was no good in the supermarkets?
In the Walmart that I go to, people tend to not use it that much.
Okay. I wonder if where you at, they got a Stop and Shop or a stop, wherever the other supermarkets beside Walmart.
Yeah, but keep in mind, I live in a military town, so there's a lot of older people that live out here.
Okay.
So older people tend to want to deal with human beings.
Oh, okay. I get you. All right.
All right, let me finish up my presentation, then we can get on into some other stuff. Hold on.
Let's go one further. This is that funny robot is called Dexter, and it's a very nice face. But it's also he has camera, so he will watch you doing things, and then you will learn from that. So if you fold a shirt, Dexter will, from you doing it, learn how to fold a shirt. Now that's pretty cool in itself. But last summer, then there were some guys from, I think it was Carnegie Mellon, who said, well, you know, wouldn't it be cool if robots of different makes and kinds and could actually teach each other? So this isn't live yet, but they're in beta stage, and they actually started developing languages so that, you know, you have some robot somewhere in Japan who said, hey guys, you know, I really don't know how to fold a shirt. Can you help me out? And Dexter said, I got you. When I was little, I trained as a lawyer, and my dad said, look, you know, this is son, become a lawyer and a accountant or a doctor, right? It's you're safe. But guess what? I'm not. Well, I am, because I fled the profession quickly enough. But again, last summer was a good summer for AI. Clifford Chance, one of the largest law firms in the world, one of the big magic circle firms in London, and Baker Hofstadter is a large law firm in the US. They both deployed different AI lawyers in their practice, in the bankruptcy practice in the US, the guys, and
now that is something I've never heard before. That's new. An AI lawyer? Think about that for a second. Lawyers that represent artificial intelligence? Are they trying to tell us something here? Why would an artificial intelligence unit need a lawyer? In case of what? In case it malfunctions? In case the program is put in wrong? Because remember, it doesn't think. But why would it need a lawyer? I mean, you just heard this man say AI lawyers, right? Why on earth would an artificial intelligence unit need a lawyer? Think about that for a second. Look at the game that they're pulling on us. Okay, all this spooky boo nonsense about computers are going to take over the world and that they can think and all this other nonsense. And then they just hit you with the AI lawyer. What's that, a new job description? Ask yourself, what in the world would a artificial intelligence unit that is a machine need with a human lawyer? Let us continue.
And Clifford Chance is for one of the most lucrative parts of corporate law, which is corporate due diligence. So this is today. Now, the end result of all of this is that, you know, we need to automation will take every job it can take. the number of people working in agriculture in the U.S. dropped from about 90% in around 1800 to about, I think, about 2% by 2010. And what you can see from that, it's not the immigrants, guys. It's automation.
Okay, now you heard what he just said, right? In agriculture, it went from 90% down to 2% workforce. You know why? What is agriculture? What is farming? Farming is what? Labor. Labor. Almost 100% of farming is labor, if not 100%. Yes, they got robots out there planting, culling, digging up the earth, overturning I've seen it. Robots. Now, see, when we say robots, right, most of us think of a humanoid or a synthesoid type robot that looks like a human being that's running around out here, you know, like a Bionic Woman or something like that, or you know, a Thinbot from the Bionic Woman or something like that. No. Robots are all kinds of shapes, and some of them look like little cars. They can turn a tractor into a robot. As a matter of fact, most of the robots that work in the agriculture industry are tractors, robotic tractors. Okay? So don't think that you're supposed to see some kind of android. No, you can turn they can pretty much, with the technology, they can pretty much turn a lot of things like cars and tractors and buggies and stuff into robots. I seen a robotic dumpster. Yeah. So again, this is what I was saying before about labor. These are the jobs that are in serious immediate jeopardy. Look at what he just said about agriculture, from 90% down to 2%. 2%. Almost all of farming is automated. That's why they got those co-ops. You know, I've never seen anybody working in co-ops, but somehow they get work. Labor. Let us continue.
And yes, I am. So you might want to ask you, what is it you do? How many repetitive tasks are in your world? So if you're an accountant, start looking. If you're a radiologist, I suggest you might want to retrain. It's very, very, anything that has repetition in there, a machine could, in theory, and I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but a machine can, in theory, do this better, faster, cheaper, and without any vacation. Now, however, we are being told, right, it's not only doom and gloom.
Yeah, Vonda, you're right. You know, people should get more into computer repair. I'm going to be teaching soon. MTech is not really set up yet. My technology channel called Maximum Technology, MTech for short, it's not really set up yet because you need, it's not easy to run a tech channel because you got to have live videos done when you're doing the how-tos and you know how to build things, and those things cost money and everything. So it's going to take me a minute to get MTech up and running, but I have a technological background. I can teach you guys how to build computers from scratch. I can teach you how to assemble laptops. We're going to eventually get into all of that at some point. Okay, I just don't have the time and the effort to put MTech up online yet. Like I said,
Hey, but Max,
I have to maintain that kind of a technological channel, but eventually that will come. And yeah, and you'll be able to learn that on my channel. I will teach you people how to do that.
There's new clickers in town. There's new jobs for you. And when I read through this list, I'm going like, what the heck even is this? What is a memory augmentation therapist? And what on earth do you learn if you want to become a diffractive optics modeler? It's funny, isn't it? But you know, this is an actual job ad from 2015, where someone was looking for a diffractive object. Who knows what TLDR means? Everyone else needs to speak more with the kids, guys. It's too long, didn't read. In other words, if something is so long that you couldn't be bothered to read, you look at the short summary. So Ray Kurzweil is a futurologist or whatever you call those people. He's a scary record in being very, very accurate in his predictions. I've summarized this for you. So he basically says all this malarkey about faster computing that I spoke to you about will lead to faster innovation because we can deploy all that power. That will effectively then mean that we should be faster and better to find solutions to like really hard problems. Things like diseases and hunger and energy crises will all be solved, which eventually will lead to immortality, unless you're really Catholic, probably not. Bodies will eventually become obsolete. And the last step is that we will be one interconnected hive mind. I knows what he was smoking, but you know, when you think it through, there is actually a possibility. And no matter what you think about this, it means that change is coming and change is accelerating. You are very likely living in an age today where this is its slowest. It will arguably accelerate through. Now, this is nothing new, right? Change alone is eternal, perpetual, and immortal. This was Schopenhauer like hundreds of years back. What I can tell you, however, is to just sit here and hope it won't happen. It's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. Now, where do we go from here? I think there is a big case to be made to rebuild society because the whole demarcation line between capital and labor might be a bit unhinged, but that's an entirely different talk. There's a couple of tactical steps that can take away a little bit of your fear. The big one is the education. Now, as a stopgap, human-machine collaboration, you know, there's certain things that machines are actually struggling with, things that aren't standardized, things that, you know, tactility and dexterity, etc. So, you know, you can do that, but it's not only in manufacturing. It's also, you may recall last spring or so, there was an AI, AlphaGo, that beat the world's best ever, like the Roger Federer of Go. With an amazing array of neural networks. However, those were all trained on humans, so he could arguably not have done it. But
Okay, that's pretty much the end of it because he's just going to talk about, he's just going to do some casual talking, but that's the end of the clip. Okay, so, all right, let's turn my attention now towards the show. Yeah, so basically, AI, the type of jobs that people are going to be in trouble with are the labor jobs. The skilled jobs, they're a long way away from that, and I really doubt that they'll even have any real successful AI at the skill level because, again, AI needs a set of instructions, okay? It needs a set of instructions. Without the instructions, it can't do anything because it can't think. If it could think, it wouldn't need a set of instructions. It can think of things on its own, okay? And people need to stop running around here on YouTube talking crazy, talking about we are going to be overtaken by artificial intelligence. We will not. You won't see robots running around here thinking for us. Now there are going to be some tasks that they will help us with. I'm not saying that you won't be able to get a drone that will come and take your garbage out for you. You most certainly probably will in the future because they're looking to automate all these, any type of labor task they are looking to get rid of. Anything that's repetitive labor, they're looking to get rid of. And so you now should try to focus on some kind of technological background. You will have to know something. If you're not in that area where you will be affected by automation, you will have to, now, they do have self-driving cars. They even have self-driving big trucks. There's been one out there on the road, like you said, there's been one out there on the road for the last 4 years. And it's fully automated, it drives itself. 18 wheels. Okay. It doesn't drive all over the country though, it only drives in certain areas. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it and put the link in the chat so you guys can take a look at it. Give me 1 second.
All right. I had to go back and catch the early parts of this, Max, because you played. I tuned in pretty late to this stream, but from what I'm here so far, sounds good. Oh, you said wait. Okay, wait. Matter of fact, I'll talk. For all those that are in the chat room, please share Maximum Black's links from his Cash App to the Patreon. You know what to do, mods. Do your job. Ladies, please, I want to see that flourish, the links. Sharing is caring. I always love when the women, are Black people. You do such a well job, passing out the links, very good support to the Black man. Love y'all.
Okay, everybody, I'm about to place this link in the chat, and don't be afraid about what you're about to see. This has been going on now for the last 4 years, okay? They have these trucks out here. I've actually passed one when I was driving on the road. I actually passed one of these trucks, and I didn't see anybody in the driver's seat. Okay, click on that link right there, and let me know what you think about that. That is on the road actually right now, as we speak. When I was still driving, I actually passed a few of these trucks. We used to see them parked in the truck stop. And we would talk about them like, damn, why they got them parked in the truck stop? They don't need anybody to drive them. The problem is, right, the fueling. Which one, Christine? The one I was just using to do my presentation with? Both of them? You want both of those? What do you want? Tell me which one you want, Christina. Yeah, we used to see these trucks in the truck stop, and we would talk about them. The issue with them was that they can only drive us so far because they need to get fuel, and they can't fuel themselves. And the DOT won't allow them to put a self-fueling tank on there because that can be too dangerous.
Yeah, that could be dangerous.
Carry an extra fuel, an extra tank of fuel, and then fuel itself in that tank. They won't allow them to do that. So that's the big problem. That's why they can't really go cross country the way they want to, because they have to fuel. So if they stop at a fuel station, somebody has to fuel them. Yeah, that's technology. That's been out for a while. Those trucks been on the road for the last 4 years. You're only going to see them in certain areas. Again, they can't drive across country because it's a fuel issue. They have to be fueled, right? So the trucking companies aren't, the truck stops aren't cooperating. Like, they're not willing to provide someone to be at the pump to fuel these trucks for them. So that's the issue that they're having right now with them. As soon as they get that worked out, you'll see them driving coast to coast. Yeah, eventually they'll drive coast to coast when they get the fueling issue worked out. The reason why they're not doing it now is because no one is fueling the trucks. This is why they only go certain distances. Okay, but eventually they're going to work that out. They're going to find somebody that's going to work with them on fueling the truck. They probably will hire a company to do it, and the trucks will drive to a certain area to get refueled, and they'll just boom, right back on the road. I don't have a problem with that. Even being in the trucking business, I ain't got a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Truck driving is a grueling, draining business.
It also could mess up your prostate too.
Yeah, you end up with a bad back.
And it could damage your prostate too.
Yeah.
Cause a lot of people notice when you sit in that chair and it vibrates off of that transmission. Oh, bad.
Yeah.
Which I discovered lately. So a lot of people that do it for like extended of years,
Right.
decades, it
Right.
does.
So, right. And so, you know, don't think that now they're still a long ways off, right? They only got a few of these trucks. It's not like it's a whole army of them out there. Okay, it's not like they got like thousands and thousands of them. It's just a few. And I think there's only what, 1 or 2 participating companies right now, like Otto and Frito-Lay. Okay. And so I think UPS might be getting into the mix at some point in FedEx. But the thing about UPS and FedEx, they can fuel their own trucks. So their trucks can go from hub to hub. You know, the FedEx don't have to go to a truck stop, or UPS. They got their own hubs. Okay, so yeah. So I really don't have a problem with trucks driving themselves like that. And somebody was saying something about AI lawyers. Yeah, well, probably so. I know I would. If I lost my job to one of these machines, or somebody in my family lost my job, and then one of these self-driving cars hit me and I survive, or one of these self-driving trucks hit me and I survive, man, I'm coming with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Hatred, anger, everything. I want it all. Absolute no sympathy. No, I'm coming with it all. You know what I'm saying? And so I would expect people to be extremely upset if they get into an accident with one of these stuff. Now, the thing about it is they're getting cute. They're getting real cute pushing this stuff out there like this. Okay, they're getting real cute, especially with these self-driving 18-wheel trucks. Let me tell you something, people. Trucks are dangerous.
Isn't that what's the rate of accidents cause death? What level is it? Is it third on list, fourth on list?
Well, it's not really that bad. It's gone down since we had an influx of female drivers, okay, into the truck industry. So the fatalities have gone down a great deal.
Really, Max?
Females, I hate to say it, but it's true.
So you're saying the female drivers are not causing accidents with them big ass trucks?
No, like they're not. Females, believe it or not, it's the opposite. The female truck drivers are actually more cautious because they are afraid.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I ain't gonna lie. You're right. They're afraid. Yeah.
It makes them cautious.
Yeah.
They don't get in these big trucks and drive like a damn maniac.
Mm-hmm.
No, so a lot of them drive 55 miles an hour, some 60, okay, and they don't be speeding out there. They don't get out there and act stupid. And so they've taken the fatality rate all the way down. And a lot of companies are hiring female drivers more than male drivers because of the safety record. It's not that they want to hire women over men. The women are safer. I mean, it's right there in black and white. They get into way less accidents when, you know, when driving trucks. Way less. They don't take chances. They don't drive drunk. They don't, you know, they make sure they get their sleep. They don't try to drive drowsy. They don't try to play superhero. And that's what makes them safe. Guys get out here, we drive, we try to push the envelope, you know? I'm guilty of that myself. I get out there and I push it, right? Even when I'm tired. Women don't do that. They get their sleep. They're very cautious when they're on the road, and you don't see them speeding down the highway like they don't have any damn sense. And therefore it makes them safer. And a lot of companies are going with that. They're hiring a lot more female drivers. One of the reasons why they switched to automatics, right, is because of the influx of women drivers. They've taken the sticks out of the trucks. There's no more shifting 10 gears or 18 gears or any of that. They got rid of all of that to accommodate women. And you know, in the industry, they don't give a damn. The industry don't care nothing about gender wars. To them, it's always about their financial bottom line. If the women are safer, that's who they're gonna hire. They don't give a damn whether they don't care nothing about what a dude got to say or none of that. They don't care nothing about that. All they care about is the fact that these people are safer. That means that they're going to cost them less. And that's what it's about. And there's a lot, and trust me, there is a large influx of women in the transportation business, period. Period. Yeah, yeah, I see you, Dame Frankie. That's right. Women are but you see, that fear makes women more cautious. And they don't do the crazy things that the guys do out there on the road. You know? We be getting into our egos when we drive down the road because we're so good at driving big rigs. You know, a lot of us get cocky and, you know, arrogant and shit and end up fucking turned over in a ditch somewhere. Like every time there's a bad storm out and there's ice on the road and you should be parked, right? There's always some idiot out there on a radio talking about, ain't nothing wrong out here. You can drive out here. 10 minutes later, he's down the road somewhere, laying on his belly and turned his truck over. Women don't do stuff like that. So Chaos, where'd you go, man? Oh, you stood there. Yeah,
I'm
so
here.
get-
I'm here.
yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, so getting back to the automation. No, you're right, Christine, they don't. You know, that's why they're very safe, and companies are rewarding them with jobs.
And you know, because of the black man's activity, he might be out of work. Be hard to find work on the trucking now. All the recklessness, man. If he's engaged in that.
No, you can still find work. You know, he's still gonna be able to get work. You know, they ain't gonna never get rid of men altogether. Okay, I'm just saying, but there's a large influx of women because women have a better safety record. But listen, man, it has such an impact on the industry that they making all of the fleets fully automatic. I mean, when I learned how to drive trucks about 18 years ago, you had to learn how to shift gears, double clutch, all that stuff. Trucks had clutches in them and everything, right? You fast forward to the day, the trucks don't have any clutches, they don't have any sticks. You just get in and turn the key and drive, bro. Just like a regular car. That's it.
Hey Max, you think they should have had automatic shift for the trucks a long time ago instead now?
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with the automatic truck because I drove during the times with the sticks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with a stick is when you're going down steep hills.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the geared shit.
And then some of these hills are so steep that your gear rotation speeds up any old way. And if you come out of the gear, you may get locked and can't get it back into gear. If you can't get it back in gear, And your
Wow.
truck's going to speed up and your brakes may not be able to hold up.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you end
Yeah, I
up
saw
catching-
a movie on that particular when the one dude didn't gear properly while it was going down,
Mhm.
like not it's like a whole deep slip, but it was down enough and he just geared off wrong and he started to lose control of the speed of the truck.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You'll lose your life. Yeah, man. You can lose your life going down a hill real quick.
Yeah, that's one thing about using standard cars. I don't know if I could deal with that.
Yeah, damn freaky they are. They're all automatic. You just get in and turn the key and go. As long as you understand the distance and the height, and once you get used to that, you're good.
Mhm.
You're still gonna have to back up though, which is very difficult to learn. It takes a little time to learn how to back up because you got to back into a dock or whatever. It takes some time. That takes actual skill. You got to learn how to do that. That's not easy to do. Okay, because you're used to turning one way. Well, when you're backing up, you turn one way, the trailer goes in the opposite direction. So you got to get used to that. But no, I think automation isn't bad. I think that automation is good. Okay, in a lot of ways, it's going to create more jobs. It's going to create a new level of thinking. To where it's that you don't have to sell yourself short and become a laborer. You know, you can go out, take a light course in computer repair or something like that, and be right in the mix. That's what a lot of people are going to start doing. You're going to start seeing a lot of computer repair shops pop up all over the place. I mean, they're going to pop up all over the place. You're going to have people who are going to run. What I think also is going to happen too, but now that you see Uber and them using drones and self-driving cars, man, my thing is when you have all this automation, right, and people are out of work, who's going to purchase product? Has anybody thought about that? If people don't have any work, then guess what else they're going to have? They don't have money. They don't have money, then what they can't do? They can't purchase any product.
It makes me wonder how commerce is going to operate now.
What's that?
It makes me wonder how people are going to operate in commerce without.
Yeah. I mean, we have all this doom and gloom, right, about how computers are going to replace us, automation is going to replace us. But if we don't have any work, we don't have any money, then we can't purchase any product. So how are companies are going to make money, especially companies that sell product? How are they going to make any money? Are the robots going to buy the product?
I guess so. That's what people are thinking.
How is Kellogg's going to make money?
What they're expecting, Max, they want people to steal and rob and kill and get the money.
Oh, well, they'll get that. They'll get that because I'm going to tell you right now, man, if they force people into starvation, it's going to be hell to pay.
But that's what they're expecting. That's what they want. They want chaos. And it needs a greater order to restore the order in which world we live today. Hey, listen, we live in a sick world, Max.
Well, they better be careful what they wish for.
Most of these people that sit back and making a little technology that's funding it, they don't have to worry about this. It's just a small man that's on the streets have to be concerned. It says, screw you. We ain't worrying about y'all. I'm saying just keep buying these products. I don't know how you get this money. You better find a way to get that money. You better steal or do something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But that's what they want people to turn into. And think about this, Max. Look how the European is acting with automation now.
How is he acting?
And he's very savage in his behavior.
Mm-hmm.
When he don't get his way,
savage in his behavior. I don't understand why people acting like this is something new.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I
See,
agree.
again, you see, here's a false narrative right here, right? You look at the Watchtower, they just put out something that says artificial intelligence is replacing millions of jobs. You see, that's misleading. They're not
Mm.
telling you what type of jobs. You see, we just got this discussing labor. You didn't hear them talking about the two guys I played didn't talk about any other kind of jobs except labor jobs.
I think I know why. I think I know why they did that, Max. You know why? It's to get more followers. You get me?
Yeah, but you see, but you're putting out a false narrative. You're saying that, and then you got people running with that. Oh, well, artificial intelligence is going to replace millions and millions of jobs. That includes you too. You know, you could be a lawyer, you could be a banker. Well, you know, they're going to replace your job too. No, they're not. I mean, we talked about the type of jobs that are in jeopardy. Labor jobs. Labor jobs. Agricultural. Well, they already hit the agricultural. Well, they already hit them. They already took them out. That's almost all fully automated now. Very few farmers left that actually tend to their own crops, in their own fields, I mean. If I'm not mistaken, Joe's a farmer, right? Joe, you've seen how automation has, what it's done to agriculture? So this is what I'm talking about, man. They throw out this spooky bullshit about, you know, we're going to lose all our jobs. And we're not. Again, if people don't have any work, then they don't have any money. They don't have any money, they can't purchase goods and services. How these companies are going to survive without people purchasing goods and services? You think Procter and Gamble want people out of work? As big as Procter and Gamble are, I mean, it's big and as big as Procter and Gamble is. You think they want people out of work?
Mm. Isn't Procter a technology company?
Huh?
Isn't that tech company? Procter Game.
Procter and Gamble, no. Procter and Gamble makes a lot of Johnson and Johnson products, a lot of baby products, a lot of soap powder, Tide laundry detergent, you name it.
Okay, I follow.
Truck driver, I used to hate picking up their loads because their loads were always overweight because they had so much product that they was pushing out of their plants. A load of fucking soap powder is heavy as hell, man. You know. But yeah, and so you think they want people out of work as big as they are? You think Walmart really want people out of work? No. There's going to be companies that are going to push back against this automation because their product is based off of people purchasing their product. And if people are out of work, then people have less money, then people will purchase less product. That means companies will make less of a profit. Some companies will fold and go under because they won't be able to make enough money to stay afloat. See, these are the things that people, this is why I always look at the human aspect of a situation. A lot of your scientists want to get all analytical and say, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. The numbers say this. Well, there's an unpredictability when you talk about humans. Humans need to eat. Humans need to do this. Humans need to do that. How are they going to do that if they don't have any economics? And then what happens to the companies who need humans to purchase goods and services? You think they're going to be cool with millions of people being out of work, not making any money, not having any money to purchase goods and services? I know if I was a company that was selling goods and services, and all of a sudden I can't make any money because people don't have any money because they're out of work because of automation, I would have a serious problem with that. I'm not making any money now. So I would be against that. Shout out to the people in the chat. Joe, And I don't know about Chaos Rain, but I think he went on mute again. But like I was saying, you know, I would be against that.
I'm still here. I'm hoping that when you get a chance, you want to discuss the 5G again.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it. What you
I
got?
mean, I'm not really too astute to, besides, you know, what the stock market or what they trying to give people tips that, you know, if you buy this or you invest in this up and coming 5G wave. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I think they have the towers up for it, but you know, they don't they said it online yet, 5G, but I could be wrong, but you know. But once once this 5G is really officially running, all the things that people concerned about the automation is going to accelerate a little faster. Not quite fast, but just a little bit.
I don't know if artificial intelligence has anything to do with 5G.
I mean, not, but like certain things, because it's a faster internet speed, it will make, like, say, self-driving cars or certain things that they're doing already much better. I said much better, not like.
Well, the stuff that operates off of is a lot faster than 5G.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
5G is just a bunch of cosmetic talk for consumers.
Oh, okay.
Actually, believe it or not, 5G is really slow.
Well,
I know
other countries are beyond 5G.
It seems fast to us because our internets are like at the average is like what, 1-2 megabits per second, or you know megabytes. When in Korea, there's something like what, 150 gigabytes per second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 5G would be a big deal. See, in Korea, 5G would be a joke.
Okay.
But over here, it's the end all be all because our internet is slow to begin with. We got like the slowest, believe it or not, we got like the slowest internet in the whole world, other than in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the slowest, but we're up there. But Africa's the slowest, obviously, the slowest.
Yeah, you know, we're extremely slow. So 5G to us is a party. Like, wow, we got 5G.
Mm-hmm.
Other countries are like, damn, it's about time.
Mm-hmm.
You got some countries up to 10G. How fast is that? That's even faster than that out there.
Mm.
As I said, the car, the self-driving car, they operate for something way faster than 5G.
Yeah.
3Com and DSS. Okay. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about self-driving cars.
Mm.
Okay. You're talking about serious bandwidth, partner. So 5G to me is just a conversational piece for YouTubers and people who are looking for the latest iPhone. It's really nothing to get excited about. It's no real breakthrough. It's no mean feat. It's just that we're just late to getting to the party. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's much out there. There's much faster than that out there.
I believe you. Yeah. Some of them are going to be on 6G now. Probably going 7G.
No, Dame Frankie, the towers that they have up are all capable of dealing with 5G. They don't have to put up no fancy tower. 5G is not what you got. It's not some breakthrough in technology. It's just a little bit faster than 4G. Okay, and all of this hocus pocus about, oh, it can work underwater. So can 4G. It can work underwater too. Almost any electronic device can work underwater if you can insulate it. See, this is how they get you. This is how they pull the wool over your eyes with all of this misguided rhetoric. And you don't know what you're listening to, so you fall for it. You don't know what to listen to. You don't know what to listen for. Any electronic device, you put cables in the water and you insulate the cables, you waterproof the cables. Yeah, it's going to work. You think they're gonna actually put naked cables in the water and then turn something electric on? No. I've heard this, yeah, 5G, they got the cables running underwater. So, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's no different than running a power line underwater that's insulated. So, we have to be careful. I'm not saying that 5G will make things a little bit better on the phone. It will. But let's be realistic here. It's not this end all be all. It's not the reinvention of the wheel, which they're trying to make it out to be. And they have people believing that, oh well, 5G is going to take us to the next stage of electronics or computing. No, it's not. It's actually far down the totem pole. It's been surpassed already, 10 times over. We're just getting it because we're slowpokes.
Mm-hmm. We get things late.
Yeah, it's not going to all of a sudden you get 5G and you're going to turn to Jesus and walk on water. Okay? Because you can move your feet as fast as 5G can transmit information. It's not going to happen. Like I said, many people are consumers, okay, and they can get away with this kind of rhetoric. All right, they can get away with this kind of rhetoric because they know you're consumers and you aren't really looking to research things or because you got other things on your mind. Okay, nobody is thinking about researching 5G, especially if they're hungry and they're trying to get a slice of pizza or something. Hell, the thought of having that slice of pizza is a better thought. If I had the choice between thinking about 5G and a slice of pizza, I'm thinking about the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and listen, and I'm not saying that 5G won't help you out someday. Some it will, but it's not this big next big thing like people are making it out to be. It's actually a small thing. Now you were talking about 10G, like they got in some other countries, 10G and all of that. Now we're talking. When you download in 150K, 150 gigabytes,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe in 1 exabyte, which is 100, what is it? 100 million of a billion or something like that. An exabyte. You can do that with DSS and 3Com and 3M. Those are the big boys when it comes down to bandwidth. Yeah, exactly, Dan Frank. I'd rather have that pizza. Hell no, damn 5G. We even get that slice, man. I don't do the extra cheese though. That's too much cholesterol. I'll take the plain cheese. And now you got to make sure this. You can't even find a real pizza. Speaking of that, how many of y'all have authentic pizzerias in your neighborhood? And when I say authentic, someplace that don't use goat cheese for the substitute of mozzarella.
Good
I remember
question.
it used to be fun, huh?
That's a good question. I don't remember eating goat cheese like that.
Yeah, it's goat cheese. You got disgusting Papa John's with the goat cheese. It's not real mozzarella. You got disgusting Domino's.
So they use a goat cheese on.
Yeah, it's goat cheese. And then you got the pizzerias around the surrounding area. They all fake. You know, any Arab. Listen, you go up to any Arab-driven pizzeria, chicken spot. I'll tell you right now, the pizza is fake. Okay, the pizza fake. That's goat cheese. Okay,
Wow, didn't know that.
yeah. No, not 10G in this country. That's in other countries. Dang Frankie. Oh yeah, man. Any of them Arab spots that be selling chicken wings and chicken, trying to act like they black with pizza, you know, they'll tell you the pizza fake. That's goat cheese and it's nasty. Okay, goat cheese. It's not real mozzarella. You got to really go and look now and find a authentic Italian a place that makes real pizza with real mozzarella. Okay.
Is goat cheese cheap?
Yeah. Goat cheese is cheap and it's the abundance of it. That's why a lot of these people, places are using it.
Wow.
Yeah. See, mozzarella is expensive, and a lot of people are trying to cut costs. You know, you go in there, you think that you're eating real pizza, it's fake.
Especially the commercial pizzas. Like,
Yeah.
like I figure like Caesar pizza is one of them. But if you buy a pizza for under $5, that's not pizza, my dude.
Yeah, exactly. Real pizza used to be like $12. If you buy a large pie, it's like $12, $13, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now the large pie is like $4.
Yeah, I want to eat that shit.
That's goat cheese. You got 7-Eleven selling large pies for $5. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Exactly. It has that musty taste to it, that gooey, that ooey gooey chewy. I mean, dang, it's disgusting. I don't even eat pizza anymore unless it's from a real reputable Italian place.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go into the places that the Italian places that make real pizza, man, you can see the difference right off the bat. You can smell the difference. Okay, you can smell the difference, man. You're like, okay, this is real pizza. You know, you can't even find real pizza anymore. It's hard to find. You know, usually you got to go somewhere where the name starts with Sal in order to find some authentic pizza. You know, if you go to Sal's, don't go to anything that says New York. That's not real pizza either. Goat cheese. You know. So folks, Chaos, my man, for 2 hours. That's my conclusion of my automation.
Okay.
We'll be back tomorrow night, people. And I don't know what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow night. Let me see. Tomorrow is Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I might not be broadcasting tomorrow night because I'll be watching. My Steelers are playing tomorrow night. Okay, so I'm going to be probably watching the game on Thursday night. So I might not be here Thursday night, or I might stream late. I don't know.
Okay.
But if I do stream, it's going to be. Oh, you know, I could actually record the game, so you know, I might still go ahead and stream any other way.
No, I doubt it. If not, you don't have to really bother because you already did 2 streams, I believe.
No, man, I gotta get consistent, man. You know, so I gotta build my channel, man. So I gotta keep streaming.
Well, you know, always when you do a stream, it should be important. It should not be just want to do it just to knock it out. You want.
It is going to be important. I'm not doing stuff to be doing it, bro.
Okay. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm not bugging out, man. I do these streams because I do have a voice, and I want to, I got something I want to say.
All right, cool.
Hey, man, thanks for coming up, Chaos. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
And everybody for tuning in and supporting the channel.
Always.
Next stream will probably be, I'm not sure. I probably will be back tomorrow night. I don't want to make a promise I can't keep. So just check for me tomorrow night.
And always, notification have been acting lately weird.
Uh,
I've been going live and I've been putting up Premiere and I've not seen a notification. I think what YouTube has been really messing around. They have really restructured the algorithm because of this so-called policy.
yeah. I didn't even get a ring from mine when live, but it did pop up that I did go live, but I didn't get that sound or anything.
I didn't get that either.
You know.
And even when I do my, every Thursday, so I be consistent to the book readings. That usually I know when I'm live, it'll pop up on my phone. I'm not getting that for the last week, maybe almost 2 weeks now. And because I found out they've been adding this new policy in here, which won't take effect till 2020, that they really are really cracking down and checking any content that sit there, that they deem unworthy for people to really look at. Even the ones that if you put like certain labels like black, white, or even talk about some history, you're not gonna get that buzz at your live, and people will not know. So people. Oh, and one other thing I want to tell your listeners right now that's listening: those who subscribe to my channel or subscribe to Max or any one of the other people in the regime, if you're not noticing no notification, I advise you to find our channel, which Vonda Harris put right now. And when people go back to replay, we'll find it on the chat room. You might have to resubscribe, possibly. Because when they re-up their systems, they start removing certain subscribers if they've not been watching the channel or whatever case may be, they just do it anyway. So you might have to resubscribe to the channel again. Gary?
All right. And with that being said, we're gonna get on out of here, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Okay.
I appreciate it. And we'll probably see you tomorrow night. Don't hold me to that though. I might not stream tomorrow night, but just look out for the Overdrive and support the great regime. That is the Overdrive Third Gear, the Great Regime Gaming, and the flagship channel, Spoolie and Gray. Also, my brother here, Chaos Range. Y'all support his channel. Join Maximum Black and the Urban Nation on Patreon. If you haven't become a member of my Patreon, become a member of the Urban Nation. Hey, yeah, that's my strong people's right there. All right, so I'm gonna get on out of here. Remember, the tech channel will be coming, but it's gonna take some time to get it running. Like I said, you need funds to run a kind of channel like that because you got to do live streams and you got to build stuff and teach people how to do things. So it takes time to get a channel like that to run, and that channel isn't easily maintained. So we'll see what happens in the future, okay? So I may be able to get that kind of channel up and running. Right now, it's a little bit too soon. Okay. Okay, Kenny Cujo. I see you later too. Okay. So until then, everybody, just understand that in Black is the power, and the people are. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired, so give me a second to get my head together. Remember, in Black is the power, right? And the Black is the people, and therein lies the power. Good night, everybody, and peace.
Take care, everybody.
Kissing you is not enough for me. You know I'm a big boy and make noise and desire. Making love is what I wanna do, but I need a true friend to make it happen. All your love, I wanna kiss you right. Just like right there. Yeah, give you rest, especially that and there. So I ask you, I'm not trying to put you on the line. But I gotta tell you what's exactly on my mind, girl. My big heart leads me right to you. Every time the phone rings, I really think God that it's you, girl. Every time I close my eyes, a vision of your face always pops into my mind, girl. I would do anything to receive love from you. So show me the way that this could happen soon. I'll be right there all the time. It's your grace for mine. Just show me the way. I love you, Deja. All your love, give me everything I need. I'm sure I can please you anywhere. I wanna kiss you right, just like that little girl. I'm the ghetto. See if I can handle little things, just because it's you. Serving on me. Just show me the way. I love you. I love you, baby. All your love. I will do all of it. All right. Anywhere. Just because of you. All your love. And I will be